Senate has granted approval for President Bola Tinubu's request to secure a comprehensive external borrowing plan exceeding $21 billion for the 2025-2026 fiscal years. The approval came after Senator Aliyu Wamako, chairman of the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debt, presented a report during Tuesday's plenary.
Mr. President and my dear colleagues, the committee's recommendation, based on the above findings, the committee recommends that the Senate do approve the President's request for a total facility for various projects and programs under 25-26 external borrowing plans comprising of $21 billion, $890,647,912, and €2,193,856,324.4. $15 billion Japanese yen, and a grant of €65 million respectively. Based on the above findings, the committee recommends that the Senate do approve the President's request for the issuance of federal government bonds in the domestic debt market by DMO to the tune of $757,983,146,571 naira.
Speaking in support of the plan, lawmakers clarified that the borrowing plan is designed to be disbursed over a 6-year period, not limited to the 2025 fiscal year alone, highlighting that Nigeria has maintained a good repayment record without defaulting on existing loans.
The budget 2025 implementation cannot commence in full. That is, the revenue of the government combined with the borrowing plan of the federal government, we now have all sources of revenue to fund the 2025 budget in place by this singular action of passing the borrowing plan of the federal government into law this afternoon.
Yes, I do, because I was part of the committee that considered this. And I looked through the schedule of the things to be done with this money. I saw provisions made that all the 36 states of the Federation will benefit from in various interventions the government proposed. But most interestingly to me, Mr. President, for the first time, I have seen an elaborate provision made for money to be borrowed to build the Eastern Rail Line from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. A provision that was put in the budget, $3 billion. I didn't need to look at any other thing to support this borrowing plan.
Some concerns were raised about the need for transparency and accountability in managing the borrowed funds, notably by Senator Abdul Ningi of Bauchi Central.
This has to do with our collective inheritance. This is a loan that my generation and generation yet unborn will be subject to payment or to pay. Yes, this is a proposed payment plan, borrowing plan, but in this document, there is no indication of how these loans will be paid. That is one. Secondly, if you look at the committee's report, on page 3, number 1, that the loan shall specify the purpose of which the borrowing is intended, which shall only be a long-term capital expenditure and human capital development.
However, Deputy Senate President Jibrin Barau commended the committee's thorough work and assured that the borrowing process involves nationwide inclusion and scrutiny.
Now, recommendation. Based on above findings, the committee recommends that the Senate do approve the President's request for capital raising up to $2 billion through the establishment of a foreign currency dominated financial instrument issuance program in the domestic debt market by the DMO toward the implementation of the Presidential Executive Order number 16 of 2023. Those in favor of the recommendation say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.